Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Afro-Picks, everyone, brought to you by the Caribbean Cultural Center African Diaspora Institute. What's Afro-Picks? You still don't know what Afro-Picks is? Afro-Picks is where we sit down with filmmakers of the African diaspora to explore their process in films. I am DJ, your host with most of the most, and I'm happy to be here. And before I even go any further, I have to remind you all that none of this would even be possible without your help. So if you can please think about donating today, here's how.
In the spirit of giving in what has been a very difficult year, we want to encourage you to make a donation to CCCADI in support of our programs that continue to celebrate and protect our culture, our traditions, and our communities. We ask you to go to cccadi.org to make a donation. All contributions are greatly appreciated, and we thank you in advance for your support.
And now, the creator behind our Afro pick for today, we spotlight the future already legendary Winter Dunn. Go Winter, hey Winter, hey. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Oh my God. Thank you for having me. This is so special. I'm so happy.
The pleasure is all ours. Thank you so much. Today, we will be diving into Junebug. Winter, can you please introduce Junebug to us?
Absolutely. Junebug is such a personal, such a special film. It's a short film about a woman who is trying to write her life story. And every time she gets back to those memories of those times with her dad, she gets stuck, she gets blocked, and she can't quite figure out why. And she can't quite grasp the energy and the presence that her dad was for her. And so throughout the film, we walk through her memories with her, and we see the magic that they had, as well as a little bit of the dysfunction that they had as well. And you start to see why it's so difficult for her to come to terms with some of those memories as an adult and from an adult's perspective. So I'm just really proud of the work, and I'm so happy we're showcasing it here today.
And it's so beautiful, and I'm excited to dive in and dissect. So on that note, let's roll the trailer.
Dad?
Who you want to be?
I don't know.
Anybody you want.
Anybody?
You're the only you in the world. You're the only Junebug. That's a big job.
What if this book is actually impossible?
You think so?
I don't want to talk about him like he's just some trauma I survived.
What? Promise me something.
What?
You won't be like me. You're so much like me sometimes it scares me. Promise me.
You got me. I'm not aware. You know what I mean?
How do you write that?
Now, before we even get into the film, I would just love to get into the people. How did you gather this incredible cast? This is amazing.
Yeah, well, Danielle Monet Truitt is like a legend. She's currently on one of the Law and Order franchises as like a series regular. Terrence Terrell is an Emmy-winning actor. He's been out forever. And then, of course, our young star, Kayla Lane. I mean, hello, like she is a star. You know what I mean?
Killing it.
She walked on set, and I had never worked with a child before, and I was really nervous that they would. I don't know. I just was worried she wouldn't be able to like really ground herself in like some of the intensity or like the quietness of these moments. And she walked on set like, I'm okay. I got this. And I was like, period. But
Come
to be
on.
honest, come on, right? They really came to me through my producer, CJ Faison. Me and CJ had met right before this project started to take off, and I knew that I was going to need production help. I was going to produce it alone, and I didn't have the bandwidth. And so I sent him the script, sent him a treatment, and he was down, and he immediately was like, I got some folks I'm gonna call. I have some cast folks, trust me. And I'm glad I did, because the performances are so stunning.
Like, What a journey. What a journey.
Mhm.
So let's get into it. First and foremost, why Junebug? You know, I'm the type of person that I like to dive into the title of things.
Uh-huh.
And this hit me very, very personally because actually throughout my childhood, a lot of the males in my family used to call me Junebug just because my birthday is in June. So
Mhm.
I want to know, why is this film titled Junebug?
Yeah, I think it's because of memories like that. It's something about the name Junebug that every Black person hears it and they
Yep.
either know a Junebug or they were either called Junebug or you
Yep.
know what I mean? It's just like this name that kind of is always around our communities. And
Yeah.
so when we were developing this and that title came up, I was with the writer. I was like, that's perfect. Like,
Mhm.
this film is one of those films that it's like, even if these exact circumstances aren't your circumstances, it really does allow you to start looking at your own past from in a specific way. And something
Yeah.
about that name kind of resonates in that too. It's like, oh, this is Black, but it's
Yeah.
like with its own perspective on like this relationship, you know? So I think the title is, I think it's amazing. It's an amazing title. I'm really proud of it.
Absolutely, no, 1,000%. Like literally, the title triggers memory. You know what I
Yep,
mean? And that's this. That's this whole thing. So
exactly.
well done from the get go. From the get go. Now
Love it.
let's jump into our first clip.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. 5, 4, come on, come on, bring it to the stage. Come on, come on. 3, 2.
Try this one.
Let's see what your taste of music is.
Dad! Too loud!
It gotta be loud enough for you to feel it.
I like this one.
Yeah? That's it. Okay. Go, Bud. Go, Bud. Go, Bud. Go, Bud. Go, Bud. Oh! 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 Can I help you? Keep dancing. Dance like nobody watching. Oh, you go bigger than that. Go, 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 go. That's my girl. Go, go, go. There you go.
You having a party?
You're home.
How's the writing going?
Come here.
What are we doing? Joan,
You feel that?
what?
It's a song, but it's almost bigger.
I can't even begin to tell you how much that line resonated with me. So actually, let's just start there. When she says a song but bigger, like that feeling. First of all, do you know what she was exactly trying to describe? Because like I know for me personally, there's this Mariah Carey song that ever since I was younger has always made me feel nostalgic for a moment that hadn't happened yet. And every time I heard it all throughout my life, I would just feel this giant sense of nostalgia and I couldn't place it. And then the moment finally happened like 2 years ago, and I was like, oh, that's what this was all about, whatever, right? But in this specific moment, do you know like what she was feeling? Do you know what she was trying to get at?
I think so. I think it changes in every stage of making the film because I think the film starts to kind of tell you who it wants to be, or like that's how I like to work.
Yeah.
But I think a theme that me and Nikki, the screenwriter, both are obsessed with is like the transcendence of music. Like, I'm a director, she's a writer. I was an actress, she was a playwright. Like, we've done so many different things, but no matter what we're doing, we're always able to come back to a song or to music or a playlist, or there's like these pieces of music that you hear and they make you feel things that you haven't experienced yet, just like what you're talking about. And I think that's what she's getting at. It's like, this music, this genre of music makes me feel my father in a way that my words aren't capturing yet. But if I could capture what I feel when I listen to this music, it would be beautiful, right? Like, but how do I capture it? What does that mean? You know? And so I think that's what she's saying. It's like, it's a song, but it's my dad. But it's a song, but it's my childhood. You know, it's like, it's so many things that from an outsider walking in, it's like, are we having a party? Like, what is this? And they're like, I need you to slow down. I need you to sit in this music. And we see later in the film when he's able to sit in it with her, she's able to kind of come to terms with some things that she's like struggling with internally.
Absolutely. And how was it directing that specific moment? Because again, like you were saying, right, that emotion is almost so ethereal and like transcendent that it's like how did y'all put this in? How did y'all capture this? Because that's literal magic, you know what I mean?
Oh,
so
thank you.
yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
It was tough and exciting. Like I always said, like the memories need to feel like dreams.
Yeah.
Like when you have a dream, it feels like you can't fully capture it, but it's there. So even if you look at the lighting and you look at the cinematography, our DP Brett Johnson is like genius. When you look at the memories, they have like a quality to them. Like it's almost like color and lighting, like they start to blend. But then when you're in the present, it's very sterile. It's very clean. It's very like almost regular looking, right? And so I think that's kind of how that magic visually kind of came about. It's like I want it to feel dreamy. I want silhouettes. I want sun beaming through faces. Like give me that drama, give me that dream. So that when I'm back in this realistic place, it feels like, okay, it's earned. It's like there's a conversation happening about this time and that time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're literally touching it on right now, but that was actually going to be my next question, because it's not what I love about this film and those dream moments. Like I watched a lot of like sci-fi and like mystical things, right? And the dreamy moments are not that like overly done dramatic, like everything's very hazy and blurry and you know what I mean? And we're in the memory, but it's not done like that. It's like you said, it's just this very like, first of all, I don't even know if this makes sense, but it's just like very black. It's very black and it's very just like, yeah, I don't know, like something about the sun and the way that it hits their skin in those moments. And yeah, like y'all are just doing a lot of magic within this film, and I'm just I'm so blown away. I'm just like, how?
Thank you. Well, that means a lot because we do it for you. Like it's like I'm trying to make films that make people feel right outside of us and the team and all the work and chaos that goes into filmmaking. It's like if it's only good to us, then it's not good enough. I need it to resonate with the people it's for. Which is our people, right? Like, and so that's a really thank you. That's a beautiful compliment. I take that to heart, truly.
Absolutely. No, it's like just so much of it is beautiful. Within this clip also that we just witnessed, can you label our characters for us?
Oh, of course. So Terrence Terrell is playing Davis, who is Junie's dad. And so the older character is adult Junie, and then we're flashing back to her as a child with her dad and her memories. So a lot of those flashbacks you'll see, they're dated. They're 90s, right? They are when she was younger. And so you see that in the wardrobe, you see that in even like the set design, like what you're saying, it's very Black. I love going back into like different eras of Black family and Black homes and making them feel authentic. It's like I love the 90s, but not Instagram 90s, like
right
90s, right? The simplicity of it. It wasn't so like perfectly placed. It was actually the opposite. We were a little more free flowy back there with the way we designed our homes. I don't know. So those are our characters. We have young Junie, adult Junie, and then we have Davis, her dad.
Okay, young Junie, adult Junie, David. We love it. We love it. Now, this is the first time that we noticed that there's something a little off with Davis, who is playing Junie's dad, right? What does that moment hint for you? Because I know within the synopsis, right? Like within like the written synopsis, we are already told that he's an alcoholic. So does that moment tend to build up to that aspect, or is that something completely different?
I think it does. I think it hints at his instability. That's really what it could be, hinting at his alcoholism. It can also be hinting at his vulnerable mental state, right? Like, I'm blasting music in a park, blasting it. But when people notice and observe, I snap at them. It's like behavior that doesn't really make sense. Or it's like, I want to share the music, dance, get up, dance like nobody's watching. But when they watch, what are you doing? It's like this, it's this like, and you see her too, she's dancing and then she kind of looks down, and it's like that moment of when you're a kid and you observe something that doesn't quite feel right, but you don't have the maturity or the life experience to know it's not right. You're just kind of like, what was that?
Yeah.
But you're still dancing, you're still going because that's what we do. But what was that though? It's like those tiny little moments that you come back to as an adult and go, oh, he was struggling. I didn't clock that at 7. I'm clocking it at 30. You know what I mean? Or whatever, you know? So that's kind of what that is symbolizing there. And I think Terrence did such a beautiful job of humanizing Davis and not making him like the raging alcoholic stereotype we've all seen. It's way more interesting this way because he's an actual person who is struggling and being a dad simultaneously. And it's like, for many of us, that's how life works. It was like, our parents are trying to figure out their stuff and they got to raise us, kind of, are they? You know, what exactly is happening here? You
What's happening here? Are we raising each other? Yep.
Usually, yeah, that's exactly what's usually happening. Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, with just capturing the authenticity and the magic of these moments, exactly like you said, because it is these tiny moments like that. The moment when he does like yell, and we are shown Junie's reaction, there is this kind of like this small silence that kind of hits all of our hearts, and it's like, oh, and it's like we're processing like, how do we deal with that as a viewer,
right?
And watching her deal with it as a little child in a park, and you know, so again, just like beautiful job on capturing that, because it is a tiny moment, but it means so much, especially fully in the film. And on that note, let's dive into our next clip.
Yeah.
Pancake monster.
Dad?
You got me. No matter what. You hear me?
I hear you.
No matter what.
Okay, so now this scene made me feel very conflicted for a few reasons. And I loved it because I know that Junebug herself is conflicted about these memories of her father. So once again, right, we get this small hint in the synopsis that he is an alcoholic, but this is the only time in the film that we see him, dare I say, like abusing alcohol, because it is very early in the day, even though it's 12 o'clock somewhere. But you know, it's very early in the day, and he is in front of his daughter, and all they're doing is having breakfast. But you know, he throwing a little vodka or something in his OJ. And I'm curious as to the intention of having this specific memory, because for me, right? So like I watch a lot of like sci-fi, like mystical things, right? So in my mind, I'm like, there's one part of me that's kind of like, okay, she didn't see that, so how is it in her memory, right? Like, how are we watching this through her? But then, or did she? Is this telling us that, of course, there were times that she knew, or times that she saw, but she's just now capturing it in her memory bank? Can you fill us in a little bit on that?
Yes, I love how you're talking about the work, though. I really do, because I think this is exciting, because I think it's the exact intention I wanted audiences to have. Because I think when you're a child and you observe things that aren't quite right, in your immaturity that makes sense as that child, you don't understand. It's like, oh, sometimes dad pours some in his OJ. Like, it's just breakfast. Like, it's just breakfast. It's not this huge moment. But when you go back, or someone says something and they're like, you know, he likes with the OJ, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I did used to see him every morning. He would pour that thing. Oh my God, was he drinking while I was eating? It's like, oh my, okay. And I think, I wish I could have pulled it back even a few seconds, because right before this, she's with the boyfriend as the adult. Right. And he goes, do you ever think about calling him? And we cut straight into this moment. And I think it's trying to show, this is what I'm wrestling with. I know I could call him, because we did have some amazing memories together, and I wouldn't be who I am without him. I love him. But there's this other stuff that Junie the adult is now saying that Junie the adult would have never done in front of a child. Yeah. And now I have to deal with that as the adult I am today, and have to like really fight with, what were you doing, Dad? Why were you drinking while I was having pancakes? And even though I didn't have the capacity to really understand what that was back then, I understand now. And now I have to go back to my own memories and figure out, was that a happy memory? Or wasn't it? Like, I don't even know anymore, and that's kind of what that is. That's why it's like he's peeking around the corner and she's just pancakes. You know?
That he made. You know what I mean? That he also made. And again, I just have to really celebrate the authenticity, because it's not, once again, right, this is not the overdone dramatic moments of like alcoholism that we are so used to seeing. This is something that was so subtle but meant so much, you know what I mean? And it's a very specific memory that carried over to her adulthood. It's this, it's not really him, I don't know, like tossing a bottle at the wall, it's him sneaking a little something at the breakfast table while I'm eating pancakes. And I don't personally have that experience, but just the way that it made me feel, it just made me feel like, oh my God, like she is really wrestling with like the dichotomy between these happy times and something was really wrong there, So just congratulations on the authenticity.
Thank you.
It's so hard, I feel like, today to really get moments like that across and on it flawlessly in this film. I know it took a lot of work. But it's coming off. It's flawless because it's very well done.
Thank
you. You're welcome. Also within this clip, now here's a moment where we see this Black man be very, very comfortable enough to be vulnerable in front of his daughter, and still, even in that moment, reassure her with their pact, you got me. But on the larger scope, I'm thinking like, how must it feel to be a child walking in and seeing your parent in this condition? So there's a lot of things that are happening in that moment, because on one, it's kind of like, yay, we also don't see this. We don't see Black men being vulnerable, especially with their daughters. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's kind of this conversation where it's like, right thing, wrong time, wrong place, wrong, you know what I mean?
It's nuance. There is no like
nuance.
good or bad, right or wrong. Everything is a little
nuanced. Like y'all have weaved these nuances so strategically within this film, because again, I'm just thinking as Junie, right? And that's another thing I feel like y'all did really well. I feel like you all did a really good job of making us really live through the lens of Junie. You know what I mean? Like we kind of are Junie during this, and we are conflicted ourselves in these moments. Like we are very, very conflicting moments. Would you say that this is the first time Junebug catches her father in this condition?
Honestly, no. I think the actors are obviously making their own choices and like making this concrete for them. But I would say she's walked in on him in this moment before, but she's finally getting to an age where she's like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I don't think, because there's something about the familiarity when she walks into that room. It's not like, are you okay?
Exactly.
Are you sick? You know, it's like, it's not that reaction. It's like,
Dad needs a hug.
Here we go.
Yeah. She almost immediately, she almost immediately knows what to do. You know? Yeah.
I love what you said earlier, like, one of us said it was like, are you taking care of me or am I taking care of you?
Exactly.
And I think this is that moment where we're really asking that question of like, who's taking care of who? Obviously he needs help and she sees he needs help. So she comes to like hold him and nurture him and you know, help him. But even in that space, he has to assure her, but you got me.
Exactly.
So it's like,
it's very nuanced. It's very nuanced. Let's run to our next clip.
Anybody?
You're the only you in the world. You're the only Junebug. That's a big job.
Wow.
Don't ever take that for granted. Don't ever let anybody tell you who you're supposed to be. You be anybody. You hear me?
I hear you.
Anything, period.
Dad, I hear you.
Promise me something.
What?
You won't be like me. You're so much like me, sometimes it scares me. Promise me.
But...
I said promise me.
I promise.
Good. Want to get something to eat, Junebug?
Cheeseburgers.
You got cheeseburger money?
No.
You got to make your own money in this world, too.
I'm gonna actually start with that moment. So you know, Black parents are always asking you what you want, but then telling you it's too expensive or asking you if you got money for it. So again, the authenticity is so brilliant. Like I just love that response, and then it's called back to later on as well. But what was the decision on finalizing like moment, because it's us, it's so real, you know? Like how did you go about playing with that moment?
You know, it's so funny, we did a lot of work on this scene before that moment, right? All of that pacing work of like she's trying to catch up to him, he's like on a track, he's one track, you know, he's on his like this rhythm, and she's like, Dad, you know, like I hear you, like relax, right? And so I think we did so much work and like grounding those beats that when it came to the end of the scene, I was like, let's just play. Like, let's play. Let's see where we go. And Terrence improv that line. You want something to eat? And I was like, great. And then she goes, cheeseburgers, which I was like, oh, she's great. That's lovely. And he's like, you got cheeseburger money? And I go, oh, that's amazing. Like, I was just like, yes. He's like, I'm like, yes, no, that stays. That's everybody, mama. Everywhere, you know what I mean?
Brilliant.
So it really did.
Brilliant.
It was the perfect like button to that scene. It was so good, and this still even is just so beautiful to me. It's like there is no one else in the world. There is no one else. And even that to me feels like memory. Like I feel like in actuality, this was like a normal walk and there were people, but in her memory of it, it was just the two of
Just
us.
them.
It was nothing else going on, just me and my dad, like having this moment.
And that's another thing that you just touched what I also love about this scene, the solitude of this moment. It's kind of just like, because I don't know, I live here in New York City, so it's like you never have a moment where you're walking down a long walk,
right.
there's nobody else, you know what I mean? So
right.
this very much get like, this is a memory, this is a little, like fantasy-ish, even though like, it's a real moment that did happen, but absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful, absolutely authentic. Now,
Thank you.
Touching upon that moment where she's like, I get it, right? We see this incredible affirmation being passed along to her. This is another nuanced, conflicting moment, right? We have a beautiful affirmation, but we also see the dad coming off as like a little bit abrasive to the point where she is like, all right, dad, like, I get it.
Yeah.
Why was that moment so important to revisit? And why was it important for us to hear him say, don't ever be like me?
I think it's important, and I'm going to speak for me and our writer, but I think it was important to show that even he could see that there were parts of him he didn't want her to have. You know what I mean? I think it's to show that even he's conflicted with himself. We talked a lot about like the backstory of what he's going through. And I remember me and Nikki sitting down talking about this moment and her being like, I feel like he's either on his way to an audition he's really anxious about, or he had an audition earlier today that didn't quite go well. And he can't talk about the audition. He can't talk about what's actually going on. So instead it's like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to teach you something. I'm going to do something good today, And it's like, are you saying it to me or to you? Like, who are you even talking to in this moment? And then once again, it's that moment of like, Dad, chill.
Yeah.
There's so many kids. I think people are seeing themselves in this work because I think a lot of folks have been forced to grow up early and do a little bit of parenting to the parent.
Yep.
And I think that's what this moment to me, you really start seeing those elements where she's like, I hear you. Chill, and he can't. He's struggling. But he's also trying to do his best.
Yeah.
But he's struggling too. It's like both things can be true.
Yep, absolutely. And I want to touch upon you mentioning this background story about the audition, right? Because another thing that I think we have to remember is the fact that this isn't like a dad who's like, I don't know, like in the office or like a construction worker,
right,
who's going through this. This is an artist.
It's an artist. And I think that different things come into play when the parent is a, dare I say, struggling artist. You know what I mean? What was the decision behind making the choice that was his occupation? Well, I think this was a very brave choice of our writer when we were developing this and talking about, we were both like, we've never seen stories about little girls and their dads. It's usually son and father-son dynamics. And we both have really complicated daughter-father dynamics of our own. And I think she really pulled from her own experience. And her dad was a drummer. And so that's where that came from. And it was like, he was obsessed with the music, and the music made him larger. It made him this magical human. And I kind of relate to that too, of like, from the outside world, this is the life of the party. This is the guy people go to like have a magical moment, and then they get to go home.
Yeah.
But I don't get to go home. This is home. And I got to deal with the other side of that, the not so magical side of that, the darker side of that, And so I just think there was something really authentic about him being a drummer, because that's something she could really draw on like immediately. Even like him sitting in the park with the drum, like there is something about that physical thing, It's like the music is just a part of this as anything else. And like I said earlier, we're both so passionate about the way music makes you feel. And I think Davis is the music, kind of like in this film, he is music, but music can be beautiful and warm and inviting, but it can be disruptive.
Yep.
And it can be sad and dark too. And we see that she's living both sides of it, the good and the bad. And that's why it's so hard to like choose side. You know, it's not that he's just a bad dad, but I definitely can't say he was perfect. It's somewhere. It's somewhere in the middle that no one really talks about.
That gray area. Let's roll into our next clip.
You said you're gone, you already gone. You said you're gone, you already gone.
I got me. You got it.
Dad?
What? What? What do you want?
Please don't go.
Go to your room, Junebug. I ain't got nothing for you.
How do you write that?
I don't know. You okay?
It's like I can hear him like he's here. And then I'm right back in it, and then
What?
just as fast, he's gone.
That's hard. To keep loose.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of chaos that's happening within this moment. Now, how did you land on nailing the lighting? Because things are darker in this memory. It's not the sunshine that we're used to. You know, the room is dark. There's a lot of shadows in the room. The music is a little bit more like eerie, as if something is like brewing. How were these choices made for this specific moment?
Sorry, I love this moment. I remember when we shot this, I watched that footage like over and over. I would just sit in my computer and watch it over and over, and I was like, oh, I love this. Like, I just was like, oh yes, this is why I do it. This is why I do it.
Yes.
Seriously, even now I was like, damn, like this is
It's
good.
good.
I like this. Yeah, it's like I really like this work, and I'm happy to say I genuinely like this work. But it was collaborative for sure. But I think we all were very clear that this was the moment she could no longer pretend everything was okay and just a little kooky. This was the moment, I think, where everything shifted for her. And it's probably the moment she's had the hardest time reliving.
Yeah.
And that's why it took, okay, get on the floor. Okay, let's lay down. Okay, let me try to immerse. Let me be my dad. Let me get down here like he got down and feel all the feels. And then we walk through, like you said, it's this really shadowy, haunting bit of like, I think dad's demons are the most prevalent visually here. He is no longer struggling with his demons. He is fully consumed by them. And he needs to leave. And even in that, he still is leaving because he knows if I stay here, I won't be good for you. I don't have anything for you. It's like, I was giving you all I had. I don't have it today.
Yeah.
I'm out, you know, and that feeling of that little body like sitting on the floor alone. And I remember telling Kayla, I was like, just walk back and just sit and breathe. You know, it's like that moment of like, what is happening? Just sit and like just breathe actively. And then intercut with Danielle on that floor with those eyes, that moment of like that. It's like she feels like she's hearing music, but she feels it like that. How do I write this moment that is bringing me to tears, but it's not tangible?
Yeah.
It's inside. It is me. It's in me. I lived it. It's how do you write that? You know?
Yeah.
I don't even know if that answers your question, but that it
No, it
was
does.
so many. Yeah, it was like letting Terrence do his work, and even like that mumbling, that no, all of that work. It was so strong. I was like,
Yeah,
lean into
absolutely.
that, right?
Absolutely. And I was about to ask you about the mumbling because he's still mumbling the affirmation, right? But and correct me if I'm wrong, please, but was he saying I got me?
Yeah, he's like, I got me. Anybody got I got me.
Yeah,
It's like this isolation thing of like they don't get it that I'm the only one that get it. It's me. It's yeah. He's saying like I got me. I got me. Like
yeah.
over and over. Yeah.
And that for me mixed in with just like the lighting of the scene and the airy music, it really did build up his exit because their famous pact within this film so far is you
Right.
got me, but now his mind has turned on itself and it's like no, I
Right.
got me, and he left. Oh
I gotta go.
yeah.
Yeah. And I
Mm,
have to give like real props to Brent Johnson, our DP, who typically doesn't steadicam at all. And he shot that all rigged, as smooth as that wraparound, all of that choreography is him
very
on
smooth.
Steadicam. And I was like, you got this. And he's like, Winter. And I'm like, you got this, Brent. I swear you do. And I mean, he does. The images are just so stunning. And I was, I mean, it's exactly, I was like shadowy, moody, like all the things. And he's like, got you. And I
Wow.
was like, I know, I know you do. Go do your
Yeah,
thing. You know what I mean? Go
yeah.
do your thing.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go
that's
talk to some actors, you know?
okay. Right,
Um,
right.
yeah, it was really like just a beautiful collaboration of like artists coming together and being like, uh-huh. And I remember there was one point with that scene, someone had read the script or something, and they pitched like, why don't we meet him like throwing up, like he's hungover, and then he like
Mhm.
grabs the bottle and like, and I was like, see, now we're leaning into a drunk I've seen before.
Exactly.
I've never seen that guy mumbling to himself this mantra to like, this guy I haven't seen yet.
Yep.
Who is that? And I'm
Mhm.
just really grateful everyone like trusted that. Like we can do something different, and that's what's gonna make it special. Just trust it.
That's an amazing job because yeah, you showed me something that I had not seen before, and it's almost a little scarier this way because you don't know what this man's gonna do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what that one's gonna do. He's gonna toss a couple of things and
You
then
gonna
leave.
pass out. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you have no idea what he was going to do, and that was
Hmm.
frightening with all the other elements added as well. So once again,
Yeah.
beautiful. Let's
Thank
roll
you.
into our next clip, of course.
Hey, yo, Junebug!
Dad!
Oh!
Where'd you go?
You know how to get away for a while, get out the way, play some gigs. You know how it is.
I've been waiting.
Well, Dad got to disappear sometimes. You know that, Bug.
I don't like that.
Well, I'm here now.
I've been practicing. I'm really good now.
Oh, yeah?
Better than you.
I don't know about all that now.
I bet I am.
Your mom home?
No, not till 6.
Good. Better if it's just me and you anyway.
I'm so happy you're here. I missed you.
Miss you too. But you ain't never gonna miss me. Even when I disappear, I'm right here. You know that, Junebug.
But I do. When you go, I really do. Try to pretend, but it's not the same as the real you.
You got me?
I know, no matter what.
No matter what. Grab your daddy's drums. You been playing?
Yep.
I wanna see how good you got. So you think you can beat me?
Yes.
I'm the master.
No, you're
Oh, yes, I am. You the little one, I'm the big one.
not. No.
What you wanna eat?
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. You got mac and cheese money?
No.
All right, here we go. I'll make you some mac and cheese. Does you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
And here we go with the nuances again. She is so conflicted because it's like right after this chaotic flashback, you have dad coming back home again, and he's challenging her to the whole drama thing. We have the whole callback. You got enough money for that? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like jovial again, and it is a very sweet and cute moment, and we fall in love with him again a little bit, So it's like we really are going through the nuances with Junie. Now,
yes.
I don't know if you have an answer, but one of my main questions for this section was how much time elapsed from when he left to when he's showing back up, because it feels like a long time went by, but my questions are kind of like, well, where was Junie? Was she with the mom? And what was happening between that period?
Yeah, I think Davis is a dad who disappears frequently. I feel like there have been times where he's like, I'm coming back in 20 minutes, and he comes back in 2 days. There are times where he's like, I'm out, and he comes back next month.
Yeah.
There are times he stumbles in the middle of the night. I think there's just like this uncertainty of when dad will return.
Yeah.
But from the kid's perspective, it's always exciting. He's back.
Yep.
I've been waiting. Where'd you go? And I love to imagine what is mom's inner monologue, right? Because mom's been raising the kid.
Exactly.
Mom's been doing the work. Is your mama home? No, she's not home till 6, right? Because mom's at work, so that they can afford this house, right? And he's like, well, yeah, it's probably better that it's just me and you, because he know that when mom gets back, that's going to be a bigger conversation. That's going to be an adult conversation that I don't think Davis is
ready for.
Yeah, he's not ready for.
Yeah.
So I think that's what that is. And I apologize if you guys can hear some folks out. I'm in an Airbnb, but yeah, that's what that moment is, of just like, he left, okay, he's back. It's just like when you're a kid, you're like, he came, yay! But then when you look back as an adult, you're like, why was my dad disappearing on me for weeks at a time?
Yep.
Months at a time. What did that mean? Where was he? I think these are the same questions she's answering for herself too. Like,
right.
What was going on with him?
So powerful. A couple of more questions that I wanted to ask. Where was this all filmed, and what was it like shooting on these locations?
Yeah, so we shot everything in LA, South LA. We found a house that was so perfect. Once again, my producer, CJ and Takara, they found this location that was just so stunning. And then her adult home was in downtown LA. We found this loft space that was really beautiful. But there was something about that South LA house that just already had it. It had that dark interior, that dark carpet, the wood. I was like, this is dreamy and interesting. It's not white walls and, like hardwood. It was something very dated in a right way. And it was like, oh, this is the house. Let me grab some stuff from my mama's house, put it, like add that authenticity in there. But really, that house just gave so much of that mood, I think, that we were looking for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. This film is incredible. There's so much magic within it. There's so much work that went into it, and you can tell just from how complex the feelings are, and just like great job, like all around. Really great job. Thank you so much for being a part of this magic. Where can we find Junebug?
Yeah, so Junebug is out to the world, which I'm so excited about. We did festivals, it felt like, for so long, and everyone's like, well, where can I watch it? I'm like, we're finally out to the public. Right now we're streaming on Issa Rae Presents /Hooray, their YouTube channel. Hey,
okay.
We were the latest Short Film Sunday. They brought back that series so they could debut our film to the public. So I love that it's in a space everybody can watch it. YouTube is free. Literally, if you search Junebug Winter Dunn, it pops up, or Junebug Issa Rae, it pops up. It's there for you. If you feel the things, leave comments. Like, I think the work I want to do and I want to continue making is conversation starters like this, and films that are showing a perspective on Black life and Black family that is nuanced, right? Because we all have, there's so much variety and diversity even amongst Black voices. And I think sometimes we're just pigeonholed into one point of view. And I don't think we have to anymore. I think
not monolithic.
Yeah, exactly. And we all have nuanced experiences. So yeah, if it touches you, please leave a comment. Please let us know. Like, I love that. But yeah, that's where the film is there for you.
Thank you so much, Winter, for joining us at Gavi. Once again, I am DJ. This was our Afro pick for today. Please get into Junebug. It's incredible. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Winter, and everybody. Enjoy your day.